Kilmarnock enter Europe for the third successive season. Last year they went out to Sigma Olomouc of the Czech Republic. This time they'll face KR Reykjavik.
A lot of teams for Iceland have done reasonably well in the recent years, so we'll not disregard them at all, and we'll treat them with the respect they deserve and hopefully get a result.
Well, also in UEFA Cup action tonight are Kilmarnock, who take on Icelandic leaders KR Reykjavik. It's the third European campaign in a row for the Ayrshire men. That match kicks off at 8 o'clock. Our man in Iceland, Paul Mitchell, considers their chances.
Kilmarnock completed a light training session this morning, the final part of their preparation for tonight's match. Manager Bobby Williamson is leaning towards naming an unchanged side to face the team currently leading the Icelandic League. As a club, KR have a wealth of European experience, but they've enjoyed little success. 3 wins in 30 games tells its own story. The tie has been heavily promoted here, and a large crowd is expected as KR look for European success in their centenary year. Success would simply be getting past Kilmarnock, and while the visitors have made all the right noises about this being a difficult match, deep down they expect victory. Paul Mitchell, reporting Scotland, Reykjavik.
Not the most glamorous of UEFA Cup qualifying round ties perhaps, but one from which UEFA hope to get the message across that fair play really does pay. Kilmarnock's presence in Reykjavik tonight is purely thanks to UEFA's fair play ruling, granting an extra place in Europe to Scottish clubs as reward for topping the disciplinary tables over the past year. And Bobby Williamson's side intend to make the most of it. It's sure to be a keenly fought contest as well, with a place in the first round proper at stake. Club pride for Kilmarnock, and just about the hopes of the whole of Iceland resting on the players of KR Reykjavik. A very good evening to you from Guy Mowbray, taking you through the whole match live along with Billy McNeil. And Billy, as we take a look at the Kilmarnock side, which has the experience of Paul Wright, Ian Durrant and Ali McCoist among the substitutes. The week started well for Scotland thanks to Rangers last night. It's now up to Kilmarnock, Celtic and St Johnstone, who've got an away draw earlier on this evening, to continue that.
Well, that's very much true, that we have got to start producing better results at European level. And obviously there are great hopes that Kilmarnock can put on a good show tonight and set themselves up for a victory over the tie when they next play KR and Kilmarnock.
Our referee for the evening is Wolfgang Stark from Germany. At 29 years old, he's the youngest referee in the Bundesliga and operating in his first season on the FIFA list. There's a heady band of supporters that have made the journey northwards to Iceland from Ayrshire. And Kilmarnock are about to get the game underway in their change strip this evening. Dark red shirts, black shorts and white socks. KR Reykjavik are in a Newcastle United style black and white strip. The Kilmarnock side is exactly the same in terms of the starting lineup from that which registered their first Premier League win of the season on Saturday, beating Aberdeen by 2-0. And the young man who was the hero of the weekend, Gary Hay, will be one to watch in this one. He's wearing squad number 24. He gets his first touch, playing in the left back role. Scored both goals on his home debut for Killie at Rugby Park on Saturday afternoon. And he started the season ready to be farmed out on loan to Queen of the South. He could well become a European hero in the next 90 minutes. Certainly had a good game at the weekend. Those are the Kilmarnock supporters that you can hear prominently in the background. This game being staged at the National Stadium of Iceland in the capital of Reykjavik. Looking around the ground, you would say that you could probably have got the crowd into KR's regular Voleur Stadium, which has a capacity of around 2,500. They said they were expecting around 5,000, the Icelandic officials, this afternoon. It's been steady rain all day in Reykjavik, and if that's put a few off, but pretty disappointing turnout. Let's hope the football doesn't quite match it. It's good work from Gary Hay. Finally gives away possession. Number 7, Sigtor Juliusson, got the challenge in. And Kevin McGowne launches it downfield, only for the first offside flag to be raised. You can also take part tonight by giving us a call to guess the score of this evening's UEFA Cup qualifying round tie. 0906 614 0024 for viewers in the UK. And you could win yourself an exclusive Eurosport watch if you're successful. I think we're expecting a Kilmarnock win, whatever the score, Billy.
Well, they've set themselves up in the style that we've seen so often from them. They've got 3 at the back with 5 in midfield, MacPherson and Hay pushing out wide on either side, and 2 front players in Jeffrey and Robets, and that's the normal style. And when they lose the ball, they'll get behind it quite dramatically, but when they get the chance to break out, then they'll play the ball through the midfield.
Just caught a glimpse of the number 10 for KR Reykjavik, if you think he looks familiar. Well, he might well do, because Bjarki Gunnlaugsson is the identical twin brother of Arne Gunnlaugsson, once of Bolton Wanderers, now of Leicester City. And he is the main man as far as scoring goals is concerned for Reykjavik, and indeed of the whole of Iceland. The second top scorer in the Icelandic League, which is nearing its conclusion. That's something that could be a factor in tonight's game. Kilmarnock just 2 games into the Premier League season in Scotland. Reykjavik are 2/3 of the way through the Icelandic season. They're top of the league after 12 games. They've also reached the Icelandic Cup final. This is Gunnlaugsson. Now Danielsson. Barry Hay. Not supplying the most accomplished of headers. And a stinging volley is well held by Colin Meldrum. Well, Hay may have been the hero at the weekend, but his header away didn't even get out of the edge of the penalty area there, and it almost provided Reykjavik with the first goal of the night.
Yeah, with careless defending, and they can really ill afford that at any stage in the game, but particularly in the early quarters. The one thing it has served to do is to give Colin Meldrum a good touch of the ball, and it's always nice to know that your goalkeeper is secure.
It was Gudmundur Benediktsson who fired in the volley. He got his head to it, and then as it landed, he was able to swivel unchallenged, and Meldrum is still barking out the instructions to his defence, and no doubt a few rebukes as well. Meldrum is the regular reserve goalkeeper at Rugby Park. Former Celtic player Gordon Marshall is out of action with a long-term injury. He's not the tallest, Colin Meldrum, only stands just over 5'10".
Yeah, he's not the biggest goalkeeper, and this is a big night for him. I mean, it's all right to say that you're playing Icelandic football, which is not all that prominently rated, but for a young lad like Meldrum, it's an important night for him.
Gary Holt trying to get to the ball, but the free kick had already been given in Kilmarnock's favour. I'm not sure if Holt would have made anything of that from the edge of the area, so probably a good decision as far as the Scots are concerned. Free kick to be taken by Mark Reily. Goalkeeper Christian Finnbogason. He's no stranger to Scottish football himself. He had a spell with Ayr United recently. Foul on Benediktsson. And a few boos ringing round from the Kilmarnock supporters, who are making far more noise than the home fans in these early stages. At least our youthful-looking referee is taking charge with a smile on his face. Only 29 years old. On the field are older than him.
When the referees get younger, it means that you're getting older, guy. Certainly, it's that case with me, I must admit.
This is the Reykjavik captain, Tormador Egilson. Now Ern Jonsson. Just looking towards Benediktsson. Not so much height in the KR side. Kilmarnock should certainly have the advantage on set pieces as far as defending goes. There's Mike Jeffrey bearing down on Finnbogason. The goalkeeper supplies a useful ball back to Ern Jonsson. This is Gunnlaugsson. Benediktsson had been caught before then. Just straying over the halfway line a little prematurely. Few boos this time from the Reykjavik supporters. Now they come on up with a chance. Finnbogason gets 2 strong hands behind the ball. Nobody following up. He was able to reclaim under no real pressure. It's an open affair in the first 6 minutes.
Very much so. That was a a real opportunity for Kilmarnock, but it was nice to see someone breaking from midfield like that. I think it was Ali Mitchell that got himself up there to support his attack and tested the goalkeeper.
So both goalkeepers tested in the early stages, and both have proved equal to the task. Reykjavik now with Ern Jonsson, one of several internationals in the KR side. More of an occasional member of the Icelandic national team, Ern Jonsson. Holt couldn't find Hay. Tied it up by Chris Innes. Kilmarnock will get the throw. It's the rather animated coach of KR, Atli Edvaldsson, 42-year-old who, by Icelandic standards, had a pretty distinguished playing career. He played in the Bundesliga for a few years with Borussia Dortmund. And of course seen a few Icelanders come over to British shores in recent seasons. Toddy Orligsson was possibly the first to make a name for himself with Nottingham Forest.
Well, it's interesting, Atli Edvaldsson's brother, Johannes, played with Celtic for some years, was an excellent player himself.
Here's Hay. Again, comfortably cut out by Eggleston. Gives it straight back to Gary Hay. This is Juliusson. Benediktsson. Chris Innes got to the loose ball first. Throw in for Steinsson to take. Gianni Carl Steinsson, the big hero at the moment with KR supporters. He scored the winner at the weekend as they beat their big city rivals Valur by 2-1 to keep them on top of the Icelandic League. Harry Holt brought down. Free kick taken quickly. MacPherson slipped rather as he tried to feed Mark Robets. Still played the successful ball though. Then Gus MacPherson tied it up by a Scot at the heart of the Reykjavik defence. Number 5 for the Icelanders is David Winnie. More about him as the game progresses. This is Gunnlaugsson. Similar in style to his rather more illustrious brother Arne. Point match up in terms of the final ball into the box though. Now Gary Hay, well, he's had a lively start to the season. Gary Hay booked against Rangers, 2 goals against Aberdeen, and seeing plenty of the ball on his first European game. Coming up to 10 minutes played. KR Reykjavik 0, Kilmarnock 0. Live action from Iceland in the UEFA Cup qualifying round this evening on Eurosport. Not a great deal of quality on show yet in the game. Plenty of effort shown by both sides. It's pretty even stuff. All Kilmarnock's work has come down this near side touchline as we look at it, the left hand side, through 21-year-old Gary Hay.
They've got themselves into some nice positions, but the final pass, the final ball hasn't been that particularly, shall I say, satisfactory, and because of that they've wasted some one or two little opportunities to test KR at the back.
Thrown in by Ern Jonsson, all the way back to Finn Bogason. He's actually a computer programmer by day. Semi-professional is the standard of football in Iceland at large. Here's Gunnlaugsson. Defending from Chris Innes, and a tackle that had to be made. Kilmarnock have possibly shaded the game in terms of possession so far, but KR, when they break, do look dangerous. They break at pace and they cause more problems around the penalty area. In from Benediktsson, and a free header which was well kept out by Meldrum. 2 good saves now Colin Meldrum has made. Gunnlaugsson finding space in the box to power in the header. And question marks again about some of the Kilmarnock defending.
Definitely, Guy, that there was lots of space here and lots of room, and we can thank Meldrum for the fact that they're still on equal terms. He's made two excellent saves. That one was a really good save because it was a good header in amongst the crowded goal area, but far too much space being given.
Pure instinct from Meldrum. 23 years old. Actually had a loan spell at Stranraer last season. It's his 6th season with Kilmarnock, and he's only played a handful of games in that time. Here we have another look at the corner.
Far too much room, because I mean it was a well struck ball to the back post, but you look at the space that Gunnlaugsson has got there, and had he directed it just a little bit more away from the goalkeeper, then it could have created all sorts of difficulties.
A few worrying signs for those fans that have brought the Scottish flags, you can see, up to Reykjavik. It's been an expensive trip for the Kilmarnock supporters. Average price of a beer, and this was reduced for their benefit by some of the bar owners in Reykjavik. Around about £3.75.
That won't trouble the Kilmarnock supporters. The Scots are not known for drinking abroad.
I think even I'd only have one at that price.
I didn't know you drank.
Certainly wouldn't spill any. Kilmarnock probing away, trying to find a way through. Reykjavik in full European style, sitting back as soon as they lose the ball. They get back in numbers. This is Mike Jeffrey, experienced campaigner compared to some of his new teammates. Put behind for a Kilmarnock corner. Ball in caused a few problems. Actually David Winnie that put it behind. Chris Innes and Kevin McGowne have come forward from the back. Delivered even deeper than that though towards Holt, who does well to win it. KR can break away. Well, if the obstruction wasn't given, the little tug on the shirt surely should have been. The referee has in fact given it in Kilmarnock's favour. It seems a strange decision from where we're sitting. View of that, Billy, looked as though it was Gus MacPherson or Gary Hay who'd come across that committed the foul. Here he was with an obstruction to start with. Danielson, 50-50 maybe.
Well, I thought it was just a little bit of any...
The number 8 signer, Tor Danielson, 50-50 maybe.
Well, I thought it was just a little bit of inexperience on behalf of Gary Hay there. It's understandable, his first European match of any note, and he got himself caught on the wrong side of his opponent there.
There he is on the right side of defence as far as he's concerned. Cross away from Robets, now Gunnlaugsson. Harry Holt going in with a challenge. Danielson holds on. One back, and again. Holt will go in for more. And Gunnlaugsson will try and carve something out for his side. Ball was played too far ahead of Benedictson, who was also late with his challenge. No nonsense refereeing from Wolfgang Stark so far. Thankfully we haven't seen a card. Certainly would be a curious position if the team that entered the UEFA Cup purely because of the fair play ruling were punished by referees harshly this evening. There's Gunnlaugsson, it's well worked as that, and KR are denied. The offside flag raised. Wouldn't mind another look at that from the touchline angle. Certainly very easy for them to stroll through the Kilmarnock defence.
Gunnlaugsson's picking up balls and he's able to run at people, and he's the one player that has impressed me in the KR side. He looks as though he's got a little bit of vision about him, knows what he's on about, and really was the architect behind that move. And yes, Kilmarnock's defence was split so easily. It'd be interesting to see it again on a rerun.
Not too many complaints from the KR players. This is Ern Jonsson to take the throw. Looking towards Mark Robets, who won't give up on that one, but from Bogerson clears. It's the head of Gary Holt, winning plenty of ball in the midfield. Support work from Reily. Loudson comes back deep to collect the ball. He was trying to set Benedictson away. Touch from Mike Jeffrey. Jeffrey's certainly done the rounds. Played with Bolton, Doncaster, Newcastle United, Rotherham. Most recently with Fortuna Sittard in Holland, where he was pretty successful. He played in the Dutch Cup final last season. Sittard losing 2-0 to Ajax. And at 28, and with the experience of playing on the continent, he's perhaps more attuned to this sort of game than many of the Kilmarnock players. They were knocked out at this stage of the UEFA Cup last season by Sigma Olomouc. The return leg of that game was played in something like 100-degree heat. It's nothing like that this evening as Finn Bogerson keeps out Gary Holt. I know Bobby Williamson, the manager of Kilmarnock, was saying in the build-up, well, I'd rather go to Iceland than back to somewhere like Greece or Olomouc, where it was desperately hot.
Yeah, I think Icelanders play a similar type of football to they do in Scotland, and that was a typical Gary Holt move, supporting his front players, breaking forward and then having a crack from that position. And with the wet conditions on the grass, it's something that might pay off.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, there's been steady rain throughout the day. Eased off in time for kick-off. They waved on. Holt once more. Everything in the Kilmarnock midfield is going through the number 8, Gary Holt. This is Hay. The best return ball from Mark Reily. And all the way back to Meldrum, who, despite the rather excitable cheers from the Reykjavik fans, had plenty of time to get there. Reily. Spread out by Holt to Hay. Looking for Jeffrey. He's done well to win the header. Hope back into the area by Robets, but the new strike partnership no doubt will take a little time to gel. Only their third game together. And he's taken up all sorts of positions himself as coach Atle Edvaldsen. He's been sitting, he's been standing, he's resorted to crouching on the running track now. Bobby Williamson looks rather more demure in the Kilmarnock box.
Very laid back and takes things very comfortably. I'll be reasonably happy with the way his side have started the game, and the only problems is just little bits of carelessness when defending.
Free kick from Benedictson. This time it's a Kilmarnock head that meets the ball first. Still not clear properly. Still plenty of numbers back in the box from both sides. And the challenge doesn't go in. Finally Holt can clear. Bobby Williamson will be desperately wanting a win for all sorts of reasons. He's 38 tomorrow. Not feeling in the mood to celebrate if he's taking a deficit back to Rugby Park. Still goalless though, past the 20-minute mark. Meldrum has made the best 2 saves of the game so far. Jeffrey doing well in the air at the start of this game. Not the tallest himself, Mike Jeffrey, but he seems to have the measure of the Icelandic centre-backs. Notice that it's not really David Winnie that's been coming across to Mark Jeffrey, it's rather been the captain Eggleston. And so far, it's the Englishman who's having the better of that duel.
He hasn't the benefit of good services yet, so we'll see what happens.
This is another good break from KR. The cross was overhit by Juliusson though. And Meldrum, a former Scottish under-21 international. He has got European experience. He played in the Cup Winners' Cup ties against Nice a couple of years ago. There are a few survivors from that team. This is Gunlaugsen. Now Ern Jonsson. Spread out wide again to Juliusson. And it's a really good tackle from Hay. Distribution hasn't been quite so good from the young fullback so far, though. Hay caught in possession, just managed to get a foot in. Innes trying to complete the clearance. Has to settle for a throw-in, though. The hard work of the Reykjavik strike force, particularly Einar Thor Danielsson, recognised by the crowd. Not quite sure how many lions are native to Iceland. It seems a strange choice of mascot.
I thought it was a bit cold for them out there. A bit windy.
Well, it's actually quite still at the moment.
Well, this is about the calmest day I've ever seen in Iceland.
Congestion around the edge of the penalty area. Gunlaugsen will keep it going with a clever little flick. And Meldrum is alert, and he's had to be so far. Kilmarnock are going to have to just tighten things up a little bit there. The free kick was terribly mishit, but nobody reacted quicker than Gunlaugsen. Perhaps on the break, Robets could start something. Gary Hay moves forward. Early ball isn't the best. It still might create something, though. Not finished yet. Robets will get there. He got the challenge in, and it's squirted out for a throw, which will go in KR's favour. So we haven't seen the most inspiring 24 minutes of European football so far. And it's still goalless between Reykjavik and Kilmarnock.
It's very patchy, isn't it? No one's really dominated for any length of period. Not many passes have been built up from midfield, and consequently there's not been a lot of good service to either sets of forwards.
There's Benedictson trying to get onto the long ball. It's Reily, back towards McGowne. Looking at the team sheet that we were handed by UEFA officials, thought for a moment that Kilmarnock had signed an African we didn't know about before kick-off. Because Kevin McGowne is actually listed as Kevin McGowne. Still the same Kevin McGowne, who's been at the back for Kilmarnock for about 3 years, though, as far as I can make out.
Certainly looks like him anyway.
Forward towards Jeffrey, for once mistimes his run. Has a little word with his strike partner, Mark Robets. And this gentleman, Christian Finnbogason, has hardly been troubled so far. He's made a couple of saves, both reasonably close to his body.
Kilmarnock have tended to hit things long and down the middle, and that's just easy meat for most defences, and certainly for this one, KR up until now. So they've really got to start having the confidence to get the ball down, build through the midfield, and introducing the wide players.
One thing that is lacking is the sort of atmosphere that was at Ibrox last night when Rangers saw off Parma by 2-0. Never likely to be the same in Reykjavik. Might just raise the noise level a little bit here. First touch, though, was pretty poor from Sigþór Júlíusson, and Meldrum was brave and alert again. Once more, you have to question the play of some of those in front of him in the dark red shirts. It's easy for Júlíusson to break away. His first touch was wretched, though. That just allowed Meldrum to get in.
Brave goalkeeping on, and very alert goalkeeping. He's had to be, as you say, behind his defence. His defence has been really careless and offered too much scope and too much room to those KR forwards. The first touch lets them down, puts it too far in front of him, but brave goalkeeping. And really a very, very important save at this stage in the game.
And the way Colin Meldrum has started the season suggests that he wants to ditch that squad number 12 next season and be Kilmarnock's number 1. Gordon Marshall has so much more experience than he, but in his mid-30s, Kilmarnock will be looking for a natural replacement. Meldrum is the natural replacement, having been around the club for a few years. Certainly the way he started tonight suggests he will be the favourite. Kilmarnock fans not with too much to smile about, it would seem, at the moment.
No, other than the fact that the goalkeeper is very alert and sharp, and a couple of saves that he's made have kept his team in this game comfortably.
And hopefully his ribs haven't taken too much of a battering from Juliusson. They do have a goalkeeper on the bench in the shape of Michael Watt, formerly of Aberdeen. Released on a free transfer by Norwich City in the summer. He signed a 2-month contract with Kilmarnock. Juliusson's ball cut out, and cut out well by Dindeleux. Frenchman at the back for Kilmarnock. Another free transfer arrival from Lille. And this is a good spell from KR. Corner which Gudmundur Benediktsson will take. Another one of those Icelandic internationals. See if Gunnlaugsson can conjure any room for himself again. Not with a corner like that, he won't. Back with Juliusson. Still Juliusson! Well, it looked as though Colin Meldrum just pulled his hands away, knew it was going past his post. But really well struck by Sigthor Juliusson. Didn't seem to have the room to get any sort of shot in, but he managed something, and it took a deflection on the way as well. Different sort of corner. Well charged down. And the clearance is completed towards Mark Robets, whose touch was lacking. Forward now is Ørn Jonsson. And KR are putting the pressure on Kilmarnock now. This was the shot. Did just take a touch.
It was the faintest of touches, wasn't it? But it was the ease with which Juliusson made the space for himself on the edge of the box. Didn't get pressurised, didn't get closed down quickly enough, and Kilmarnock once again living that little bit dangerously.
Forward towards Benediktsson. Decent cross. Gunnlaugsson wasn't there, but the touch very nearly caused embarrassment again for the Killie defence. Saved by Meldrum. Rather cannoned off the shins here. And Gary Holt coming back from the midfield. KR will break once more. It's non-stop at the moment. Forward through. Should be tidied up by Dindeleux. It will only be a goal kick, despite the hands raised in protest in the stands. Benediktsson disagrees. Wolfgang Stark's head will not be turned. Back from sitting to squatting.
Certainly animated anyway, isn't he? And getting himself fully and totally involved and immersed in the game. But at this stage, KR seem to have the upper hand, and Killie are definitely looking a bit uncomfortable at the back.
A bit of respite with Gary Hayes' throw. Forward by Reily. Robets hasn't been able to hold anything up and bring others in as yet. Perhaps Gary Hay can do to KR what he did to Aberdeen at the weekend. Robets goes in. Strong defending from Ørn Jonsson. Just held off Mark Robets. Goal kick to KR, and healthy round of applause for Ørn Jonsson, 26-year-old at the back. Finn Bogason, holder of 19 caps himself. He's no longer the number one for Iceland, though. Referee wants it taken from exactly the right spot. It's McGowne looking towards Jeffrey. Gunnlaugsson away. Support from Danielsson. Around Holt, rides the challenge of Gus MacPherson too, and settles for the throw. Mentioned the fact that KR are top of the Icelandic League, having played 12 of the 18 scheduled games. They're actually topped by just 3 points from IBV. IBV do have a game in hand, so plenty to play for KR in the league season. Runs from May to September in Iceland, for obvious reasons. Little touch from Hay to find Jeffrey. Jeffrey turns Eggleston. Hay's cross. He did well to get that in because he lost his balance as he put it in. And this is Gary Holt. Who's going to have the strike? Might break for Holt. All a little too close around the edge of the penalty area. Nobody seemed willing to want to take the pot shot. Mike Jeffrey's offside.
It's always disappointing when you see a forward getting caught offside when he's the last man, when he can see across the back division of any team, and Jeffries did that there and stepped into an offside position, took all the threat out of that.
Another arty shot from our director. Grass-covered ball, whacked downfield by Christian Finnbogason. Tell that it's the KR fans making the noise. Determined break into the box. It's stabbed behind for a corner, and once more the back line looked shaky. Kevin McGowne it was that put it behind. Could have done with a call perhaps from his goalkeeper to tell him that there was nobody really in KR colours making a break into the box. Gunn Laugson in particular was sluggish in breaking forward. Bobby Williamson finally risen from his relaxed posture. Looks a little bit perturbed with what's going on in his side's own penalty area. Benedictson with a corner. Gunn Laugson is watched this time, and Meldrum claims, and there was some backing in anyway by Gunn Laugson. And a free kick for Colin Meldrum.
He's been excellent in actual fact, Colin Meldrum. Very secure, taking balls comfortably, and alert behind his defence, and made the saves when it mattered. Certainly posting a strong performance for a permanent place.
And Gordon Marshall will be out for a good month or so yet, so
yeah, he's been an excellent signing for Kilmarnock.
Now then, Meldrum might have got this one wrong. He doesn't, because once more he takes the ball fairly and squarely. Thought for a moment he'd misjudged it. He seemed to race out to the edge of his area too quickly, but he stood big and tall against Danielson's run. Then we see him race out, and he just gets the block. That's good reactions again.
Well, it was a good block, wasn't it, Guy? But I thought he was a little bit impetuous. That had the KR player made a good connection with the ball, then he'd be in all sorts of trouble. But a little bit of luck carried him through on that occasion.
Again, he showed really good instinct to thrust the right hand down and block the ball. Maybe getting a little too confident. Maybe feels he's got to do some of the back four's defending for them. There's Gary Hay. Not for too very long. Forgive some of the Aberdeen players for watching this tonight and wondering how on earth they lost to them in the Premier League on Saturday. So far on this performance anyway. Still 0-0 in Reykjavik. Less than 10 minutes to the break.
Yeah, it's not been the best performance. One of the problems that Kilmarnock have got is that when they do get possession, they're not holding on to the ball long enough. I think sometimes in away matches, and particularly in Europe, you've got to hold on to the ball and keep it, and if necessary, probe down either side, bring it out, play it across the middle and go down the other side. But Killie are winning the ball and then immediately giving it away again.
Towards Mike Jeffrey, won't even get there. He will do, because Eggleston's flick almost fell into his path. Not the best defending from KR either. Finnbogason Finally claimed it thanks to David Winnie, who was covering. Just got there before Mike Jeffrey. Jeffrey impressed on the pre-season tour that Kilmarnock underwent to Germany. He's actually another birthday boy. He was 28 yesterday, Mike Jeffrey. Signed for Kilmarnock in May at the end of the Dutch season. This is Paul Steinson. Not made the full Icelandic squad yet, but he's an under-21 as an ambitious effort flies well wide. Indicative of the game as a whole from both sides. Reykjavik have been the more potent attacking force. And although they've forced 2 or 3 good saves from Meldrum, they still haven't looked exactly UEFA Cup class.
No, it's not been the most classic contest, has it? And what little bits of forward skill have been shown have tended to come from KR as against Kilmarnock.
Laugson. Neat play. He's found Danielson. 4 defenders back, only 2 strikers. Danielson got the cross all wrong. It's enough to whip up excitement amongst the KR supporters again.
Well, he got himself into good position, and another excellent pass by Gunnlaugsson. He looks to have a nice little touch, a nice little idea and appreciation of the game, and sent a good pass into Danielson's path, but from a good position he put it harmlessly over the bar.
It's Innes forward towards Jeffrey. Again, Mike Jeffrey working hard, but not able to get the ball facing the Reykjavik goal. Laugson goes in, wins it back. Touch forward to the striker again. The take on McGowne, forced backwards, going nowhere at the moment. Not convincingly cleared again. But there will finally be an offside flag raised in Kilmarnock's favour. Well, not to put too fine a point on it, the quality of football on show is pretty awful from both sides.
It's mediocre, isn't it?
I'm just watching the pattern of play. And no fine well Kilmarnock can play it a great deal better than this. You just wonder whether KR can raise it anymore.
Well, certainly Kilmarnock, I'm sure Bobby Williamson will be disappointed in one sense that his team haven't kept the ball as much as they would be liable to do, because they are a passing team and the whole strategy of the game is built around holding on to that ball, and they haven't done that.
It's Gary Hayes' cross too close to Finn Bogerson. Don't forget that on the bench for Kilmarnock they have potent striking talent in Paul Wright and Ali McCoist. Also got Jerome Vareille, the Frenchman, on there if necessary. Ian Durrant, of course, to probe from midfield. He's just back from an Achilles injury.
Yeah, probably early enough to ask too much of him, but you know, what they have, what he has got is that ability to hold on to the ball and make good passes.
There's Gus MacPherson. Is the skipper going to do it himself? You hear the calls for Gus MacPherson to get it across into the centre. Instead it's back to the halfway line. Reily. And McGowne. Dindeleux is to his left. On towards Jeffrey. Holt finds Hay. Well, at least Kilmarnock are keeping the ball. They're not hurting Reykjavik as yet. They've kept it before Hayes' cross comes into Jeffrey. Now Gary Holt. Fired in, blocked and away by Winnie. It'll come back in again from Reily. Nice turn. Jeffrey will be the obvious one here. And even he couldn't quite get high enough or time the header. And Finn Bogerson in the end with a comfortable claim. That's more promising from the Scots though.
Well, it was, because they crowded the area and made sure that anything that was coming out, they were going to pick up the crumbs, got the ball back in, and Ali Mitchell, I think it was, that put in the final cross to the back post.
Ball in, and more troubles. Meldrum didn't want to claim it. McGowne took no chances. That's the second time he's gone for safety first and whacked it behind. There's the trouble with some of these European ties. If some players aren't used to it, Reykjavik breaking so quickly.
Well, that's right. Danielson again got down that left-hand side. It was a better ball in the middle, and to be fair to Kevin McGowne, he had no option but to get rid of it.
Benedictson's corner. Danielson with Benedictson. He lost sight of it, but he's kept it in. The boozer from the Kilmarnock fans aimed at David Winnie.
I think that's related to a cup tie of last year when Ayr United beat Kilmarnock.
Yes, David Winnie spent the last Scottish season having a spell with Ayr United, and back in January, just for one of those ironies that football throws up so often, he was part of the Ayr side that caused the surprise by knocking Kilmarnock out of the Scottish Cup. Won't be surprised to hear a few more boos when he takes up possession from the Kilmarnock fans. He may be complimented that they remember him.
I don't think he'll be displeased anyway.
Played with St Mirren, Aberdeen, Hearts, briefly with Middlesbrough. Last year he got the honour of being named as Iceland's Player of the Year, the first foreigner to receive that accolade. I don't want to generalise too much, Billy, but with the 43 minutes of evidence we've seen so far, it wouldn't have taken too much.
No, but I suppose it's nice for a player like David Winnie. Looked an excellent prospect as a youngster, and he's at St Mirren, went to Aberdeen and was a more than useful player with them.
Not be a bad way to earn a living either. Come out and spend your summers playing for an Icelandic team, and then get back and have a spell in the winter in your homeland.
Well, I've got lovely hot baths out there.
Keeps him busy anyway. Of course, Don Goodman of Motherwell takes the other option, goes over to Japan.
Wonder which would be the preferred option.
Know where the money is. It's been said that the maximum wage for some of these KR players, around about £500 a week. Sounds nice. That's for the really top professionals in Iceland, the full internationals. The rest all have to supplement their earnings from football with jobs. Already told you that Finn Bogerson, the keeper, is a computer programmer. Captain Eggleston is a PE teacher. And I'm sure there's a few postmen in there somewhere. There's always a postman in a semi-pro side.
There usually is, doesn't there?
Was out of play before Mark Robets' header. Well into the last minute of normal time. Half-time whistle will bring a bit of respite for all. We hope it's going to be better for you in the second half. It will, of course, be live on Eurosport. We hope to bring you some goals as well. The bulk of our British viewers hoping that they come from a Kilmarnock point of view. And so do they.
They don't exactly look animated, do they?
Well, they've been paying £3.75 for a pint all day.
I think it's obvious there weren't too many pints sold.
Not the liveliest bunch.
Unusual for Ayrshire folk.
Maybe they'll be livened up by a last-ditch goal before the break. Or maybe I'm wrong. Here's Hay. Looking for Jeffrey. Holds it up well. Pressure came in from Winnie. Nice turn, and then certainly there was a trip. And we may see the first yellow card of the game. It looks as though Wolfgang Stark is reaching for his top pocket. It's Dindeleux, the Frenchman. Dindeleux, he's down on the team sheet. But Frederick Dindeleux is the first player to get a yellow card in Europe for Kilmarnock this season. It took Kilmarnock some 7 months to finally persuade him to sign. Been playing with Lille. Came on a Bosman free transfer. And another blast on our German referee's whistle brings to an end a very uninspiring first 45 minutes in Iceland. KR 0, Kilmarnock 0 is the very unsurprising half-time scoreline. Kilmarnock supporters, kilts and all, will be hoping for a little better in the second half. You will see it live with myself and Billy McNeil on Eurosport in just a few moments' time. Reykjavik, still half-time, KR 0, Kilmarnock 0 in our live action from the UEFA Cup's qualifying round this evening. We were running you through a few moments ago some of the full-time scores from those qualifying round games already completed. One of particular interest to Icelandic supporters. Leiftur have been defeated by 6-1 away to Anderlecht. That's pretty much the form book ringing true. Leiftur, the most northerly team in the Icelandic league, the only other team in the competition. Grasshoppers have beaten Bray Wanderers by 4-0. A couple of goals from Stefan Chapuisat in that one. Steaua Bucharest 3, FC Levadia 0. Lyngby of Denmark have beaten Birka Kara by 7-0. And one of the most romantic games of this qualifying round, Viking Stavanger 7, CE Principat of Andorra 0. Principat is actually a supporters bar for Real Madrid, and a hat-trick hero for Viking in that one is the former KR striker Daderson. Let's hope for goals here in the second half. Welcome back to the National Stadium of Iceland in Reykjavik. It's KR 0, Kilmarnock 0 at half-time in this UEFA Cup qualifying round first leg match. Sides back out onto the pitch for the start of the second half. As you can see, Wolfgang Stark, our youthful German referee, is out in the middle as well. We're hoping, no, we're praying for some better entertainment to bring you in the second half. It's going to be KR to get us underway. So it's KR Reykjavik in the black and white stripes who kick off the second half and play it all the way back to goalkeeper Christian Finn Bogerson. Here with Guy Mowbray and Billy McNeil live on Eurosport this evening. UEFA Cup action with both teams hoping for a place in the first round proper of the prestigious competition. KR nearing the end, or two-thirds of the way through the Icelandic season. Kilmarnock have only played 2 Scottish Premier League games so far. And Billy, it's shown, hasn't it? They look rather rusty.
Well, certainly this performance is well below their norm, and I'm sure Bob Williamson will have said to them at half-time, look, you've seen what KR have to offer. There's nothing there to be particularly frightened of. Start passing the ball about, start holding on to it, not giving it away so quickly as you were in the first half, and certainly to start tightening up at the back and not affording so many spaces to KR.
Yes, although the KR supporters are again making plenty of noise and beating the drum at the moment, just about the loudest cheer of the evening so far came at half-time when it was announced that Viking Stavanger of Norway were beating tiny Principat from Andorra by 7-0, and the fact that former KR striker Daderson, a hero in these parts, had scored a hat-trick. Some would say that they would wish he was on the field tonight.
Had he been, Kilmarnock might well have been behind, because it's those good saves by Colin Meldrum in that first half that kept the scoreline intact for them.
Yeah, there's been no doubt about Kilmarnock's star artist, regular reserve goalkeeper Colin Meldrum, in for the injured Gordon Marshall. He's made plenty of good saves, 3 or 4 stand out in particular. And also up front, Mike Jeffrey's been willing. He's held it up when necessary. He's won a few headers, but he's had precious little support from midfield or from his strike partner Mark Robets. Maybe that will change in the second 45 minutes. This is Gunnar Haugsson for KR. Good determined midfield play from Holt and Reily, but MacPherson was adjudged to have handled as he came away with the ball. I don't think he knew too much about the ball to his hand. Shout of get into him from the Kilmarnock supporters. It's first we've heard from them since the first 5 minutes. Maybe Kilmarnock will be lifted by the sound of their fans in full cry. Something needs to lift somebody. Here's Meldrum. It's quite a romantic day in KR's history, this. It's 15 years ago to the day that They drew 2-2 at home to Liverpool in a pre-season match, as it was for Liverpool. Anfield side were then the reigning European champions. It was back on the 12th of August 1984. There was a bigger crowd for that game than there has been for this one. So the first sign of somebody slipping there, it was MacPherson who just lost his balance. We mentioned a couple of times the heavy rain. It's held off for the match, but it is quite slick on top. Laugson got a fortunate touch through. Plenty of Kilmarnock defenders back. It was a good strong challenge from Dindeleux, the only player booked so far, and then a rather rash challenge from Juliusson, which will bring about a yellow card for him. Sigtor Juliusson is a survivor from the side that played in KR's most historic European night a couple of years ago. And in the UEFA Cup preliminary round, they actually beat Dinamo Bucharest by 4-1 over 2 legs. And then went out to Ofi Crete in the second qualifying round. Yes, you're right, we are looking for things to fill with while the action is relatively mediocre. As demonstrated there by Mark Robets, rather lame ball in, straight to the gloves of Christian Finnbogason. Easy for McGowne. It's Jeffrey. Now Mitchell. Back to Jeffrey. MacPherson. Dindeleux away. Neither side, apart from one Kilmarnock passing move around about 35 minutes into the first half, I don't think either side have strung more than 4 passes together at once.
No, it's been a very disappointing performance by Kilmarnock. I think the plus aspect for them and for Bobby Williamson, the coach, is the fact that the goalkeeper has kept the scoreline to 0-0, and there's a home leg to come after this one.
And there's still a good 40 minutes left for Kilmarnock to raise their game. There's no doubt that they do have the better quality of the two sides. It's a question of whether they can find it and break down these hard-working Icelandic players.
Well, it's not been the most inspirational performance by Kilmarnock, and you know, in Gudlundsson, I feel that KR have the better of the outfield players on the pitch, and he's had a little bit of vision, and if he gets a little bit of room, then Kilmarnock might well be in trouble as yet.
That's the number 10, Bjarke Gudlaugsson, we've already mentioned, is the twin brother of Leicester City's Arne Gudlaugsson. He's got plenty of experience as well, having played for Feyenoord and Bochum in the Bundesliga. Work for Finnbogason and his defence to do. Not the greatest corner, but it's break for the shot. Still not away, still a chance for Kilmarnock. Straight into Eggleston at the back. And watch back by Gary Hay to Colin Meldrum. Let's not forget that Gary Hay is one of a couple of players very inexperienced in the Kilmarnock side. Only played 2 senior games. Scored 2 against Aberdeen on Saturday, but he's only really playing because of injury suffered by both Dylan Kerr and Martin Baker. And he's simply not had a chance to get forward as he did against Aberdeen at the weekend.
He's got forwards at times, Guy, but you know, when he's been in the position to deliver a good quality ball, neither he nor Gus MacPherson on the other side have been able to do that. And you know, from a midfield point of view, whenever Kilmarnock got the ball in that first half, they tended to give it away too quickly. This looks a bit better, and I think Bob Williamson's asked the midfield to step up and deny any space that KR were using in that first half.
This is Mitchell. Jeffrey. Jeffrey with nowhere really to go. He's looking for an outlet. Has to go back towards Ali Mitchell. Will Mitchell, and easy for Finnbogason. Williamson's clearance. Now Danielson. Gunlaugson. Challenge. Going though goes KR's way. Is Jonsson. Good tackle from MacPherson came in. Here's Gus MacPherson once more. Reily. Dindeleux. Gary Hay once more opting for the early ball in. This time it's more successful in finding Mark Robets. Back towards Gary Hay. Chose the wrong option, and Mike Jeffries letting him know in no uncertain terms. Furious shouts out towards the touchline. Second occasion. It was given away too cheaply by Ali Mitchell. Now Gary Hay trying to get forward down the left-hand side. Jeffrey won't appreciate that sort of service either.
No, that type of ball has got to be dropped in either in front of him or into his chest where he can pick it up and control it and look for that support from midfield, but that's tended to be the way the game has gone. Whenever Kilmarnock get possession, they give it away carelessly.
Holt. Back to Meldrum. Flag raised. Free kick goes to KR. Yeah, if Mike Jeffrey was offside, then he must have come back onside very quickly indeed. Can't do anything about the free kick that's been awarded to KR though. KR actually did face British opposition just over a month ago. On the 11th of July, a crowd of nearly 5,000 saw them lose 3-2 to Graham Taylor's Watford. Gislason and Gunlaugson got the goals from KR. The Watford hero was a former KR player, Johan B. Gudmundsson, pre-season signing for the English Premiership New Boys. Scored the second and third after Watford twice been behind. Perhaps sums up the level that Kilmarnock are facing really this evening. That midway through Reykjavik season, and it was just about Watford's first competitive test. Has been better though from Bobby Williamson's side since the break.
Been a bit more spirited, and certainly they've pushed out at the back. They've got that little bit forward in midfield, and as I say, they've denied space to KR, but they're still not holding that ball with any real authority.
Monty, when will we see your like again, is the banner that the Kilmarnock fans have draped over the sidelines at the National Stadium. It's of course a tribute to former captain Ray Montgomery, who left in the summer to join Partick Thistle after many years of sterling service.
Yeah, he gave Kilmarnock loads and loads of great service and was an excellent captain for them, and played through those seasons when they really had some great progress at the club.
Stalwart at the back, Ray Montgomery. It's not at the back that Kilmarnock really need to tighten up in this second half. They were shaky in the first half. They've done nothing to trouble the defence since the break. They just need to be a little bit sharper at the other end of the field. There's Robets. Now Holt. Reily will keep it moving to Hay. Gary Hay has a little bit of room. Move into it with any real pace. Again Reily. Holt will think about the ball to MacPherson, and he maybe should have used that option. He was closed down quickly by Gislason. Loudson pops up in all areas of the field to receive the ball. He's not what you call an out-and-out striker.
No, he seems to have altered his position. He seems to have dropped right back and is playing from midfield. Perhaps that's to take advantage of his little bit of vision and experience.
Forward by Ern Jonsson. Clicked onto nobody in particular, and easy for Dindeleux. Dindeleux. Better move from KR. McGowne's gonna cross. Benedictson. And Gary Hay for Kilmarnock. Holt. Clever touch. It looked a clever touch, but it was ill-advised because here's Danielson. He's going all alone. Danielson, and Meldrum once more is brave and alert. Whacked behind by Dindeleux, and it was so casual the way Danielson was able to just wander through the defence there.
Well, that's right. It was a good run by Danielson, but it was once again it was careless distribution by Kilmarnock, and once again they had to thank Colin Meldrum for pulling them out of a problem. So he really has been alert and sharp, and I think his defenders have got once again to thank him.
Maybe there's more to that Ray Montgomery banner than meets the eye. Maybe the fans know something we haven't worked out. Corner comes in, and it's just over the top. Well, nothing Meldrum could do about that even. Really powerful header from the skipper, Tormador Eggleston. Second chance that KR have crafted from a corner. This one much further out the header, but it had an equal amount of power. Look at that, fully 12 yards from goal. And I think there were more than a few Kilmarnock supporters who thought that was dipping under the bar.
Well, that's right. They've got to really prevent that. They've got to get to the ball. They've got to be able to attack it and to prevent KR from getting the chance of scoring.
Now the change. Second Frenchman is entering the action, Jérôme Vareille. Here's the player coming on. Replacing Mark Robets. And there's only one Jérôme is instantly the chant of the Kilmarnock fans. Vareille, 25-year-old, signed from Mulhouse. Might just pose a little more of an attacking threat than Robets has managed in the game so far. He might instantly pay dividends. Back into the middle from Mitchell. Good strong challenge. I think basically Kilmarnock needed a change just to freshen things up and get some new ideas in there. No sign of Ali McCoist or Ian Durrant just yet. You were saying earlier, Billy, you feel Durrant in particular is labelled for use in emergency only this evening.
Yeah, you know, I think they'll be careful. They won't use him unless it's absolutely necessary, I would think. Give him a chance to totally recover, because he's very important to them. He picks up space, distributes the ball well, and generally generals the team from that midfield role he plays.
Deep corner and easy for Finn Bogerson. Looks as if it was heading for the back post and he sank in midair. The goalkeeper claimed it. A poor distribution though. The former Ayr United stopper. Here's Innes. Looking for the offside flag, the KR defenders. It never came. Once more, it was pretty comfortable for Finn Bogerson. McGowne's header. Far too far away from Meldrum. Corner for KR. First comes Benedictson. And again. Now he looks for the angle to get some sort of effort into the box. Well blocked. MacPherson away. Far too hurried. Innes whacks it clear. Comes straight back again. And over the top, and Had to be a good piece of defending from Dindeleux. The Frenchman is possibly the only defender who's escaped this evening without too much criticism. Vareille. MacPherson. Over Vareille, Mike Jeffrey's header. More or less the best chance Kilmarnock have created. There were a couple of shots in the first half which didn't really test Finnbogason but made him save. At last we see some aerial service which was okay for Mike Jeffrey to at least get something in towards the goal.
Well, it was a much more competent move out, wasn't it? When the ball came out to MacPherson, who had made good room for himself on that right-hand side, he delivered across it. The front players were able to go and attack.
Reily just beaten to the ball. And now there's a great chance, and a good foot in too, though. More excellent defending from Dindeleux. He just got his trailing foot in the right place to block the attempted move into the area. Vareille battling away. So Bogason's clearance will come straight back towards him, but out of play for a KR throw. But with 64.5 minutes played, Kilmarnock are encouraging us a little more now. Throw-in has gone Kilmarnock's way. Gus MacPherson is going to take it. And even as commentators, Billy, you sometimes feel not commenting is the best option.
Sometimes to say nothing speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Gary Hay. Vareille looks to be making a difference.
I was surprised when he didn't make the starting lineup today, because he had a good season last year for Kilmarnock.
Look at that for a rather ambitious try, which Finnbogason just about kept out. I think the goalkeeper made it look more difficult than it actually was. Gary Hay's shot took a wicked deflection, loops up in the air. Well, it was quite easy for him.
One-handed, imitating Pat Jennings perhaps. But going back to Vareille for me is an excellent front player, works very hard across the line, prepared to offer himself whenever his team's in possession. And when the ball gets knocked in, he can hold it up to allow his midfield players to get up and support.
I know one thing, we have been rather critical of Kilmarnock's performance this evening, KR's performance as well. If it stays 0-0, Bobby Williamson will be by far and away the happier manager.
Oh, I think he'll be satisfied if they go back to Kilmarnock with a 0-0 scoreline. But I think he'd be much happier if he saw a good performance from his team.
Perhaps Kilmarnock have quite something to live up to in the UEFA Cup. Their 5th participation in the competition back in 1967 in the dim and distant past. They reached the semi-finals of the then Fairs Cup before being beaten by Leeds United. That was your era, Billy. I think you remember that team pretty well.
Yes, they were an excellent side, good side, full of lots of good players, and that's been a tradition through the years with Kilmarnock. Always the accent was on playing football and keeping the ball.
They are looking to make them pay for giving it away at the moment. And look at the space for Danielson once more. Benediktsson looks towards Gunnlaugsson, and the flag is raised, and KR guilty of some overplay around the penalty area. Why Benediktsson didn't try something himself on the right edge of the area, we're only left to wonder why, and perhaps that gentleman's doing exactly the same. But he wishes he was in position to pop that one in.
He looks fit enough to still play there.
But he wishes he was in position to pop that one in.
He looks fit enough to...
Few players to have scored 5 goals in a Bundesliga game over the years.
Yeah, I remember one of thing for Borussia and he...
game over the years.
Yeah, I remember seeing him playing for Borussia, and he was a big, tall lad who put himself about, but with a fair degree of skill.
Perhaps we'll see some from Kilmarnock now. Well, the space just opened up for Jerome Vareille, leaning backwards as he hit the shot. Once more. Something to take a bit of encouragement from, though. The fact that he actually got away from the defenders and got a shot in.
Well, it's been a better performance the second half by Kilmarnock. They've definitely lifted the game a little bit. And they have made inroads into KR's defensive areas.
Just going to hope for concentration at the back as well. Colin Meldrum has certainly been alert all match. Balls out to Gary Hay. Dindeleux. Reily probing, offside flag raised. Silence against Mike Jeffrey. There have been quite a few occasions when strikers have been guilty of roaming offside when you would expect them not to have done. Christian Finn Bogerson with the free kick, but not before a substitution is made. As we look across towards the touchline, you can see that Einar Örn Bergiersen is the player to come on, wearing squad number 15. And he's taken the place of the only player to have been booked as far as KR are concerned in the game, Sigtor Juliusson. Bergiersen for Juliusson. And Finn Bogerson pumps it long downfield. The header from McGowne, he didn't know where it went. Meldrum helped by Dindeleux, and then Colin Meldrum for the first time slips on the top. Can't fault the enthusiasm of the home supporters. Wouldn't particularly like to be sat next to the gentleman with the drum, but he's banging it for the KR side. MacPherson. Vareille back to the skipper. Once again, Jerome Vareille. Step over from Jeffrey. It didn't run for Mitchell. Here's Vareille. Overrun the ball, and now Gunlaugson will lead the break. Poor touch again. As the game goes on, you would fancy Kilmarnock. Hayes' cross is dealt with. As Kilmarnock haven't threatened perhaps as much as KR in the game as a whole, certainly not in the first half. There's a shot from Holt, which dips just over the bar. You certainly would fancy them, Billy, to be the more likely team to score, because every time KR break, they do so at pace, but they are a little bit impatient, a little bit impetuous.
Well, Kilmarnock haven't left the same space at the back, other than that corner kick when we saw the header going in from Eggleston. But Kilmarnock have looked much more of a threat in the second half. Well, not exactly performing to their best. Nevertheless, they've been able to make, you know, even if it's only a slight chance or two, but they certainly have taken the game that bit more to Reykjavik. Second half has certainly gone far quicker for us neutrals than the first half. There's just over 18 minutes remaining. It's still goalless. Bobby Williamson doesn't look too happy at the moment. Former Rangers man. He'll have been happy last night, I would think. And again, we see that the touch of some of the KR players isn't up to all that much. MacPherson's throw. Vareille. It's well to hold off too. Now Holt. Dindeleux. Reily. Nice turn from Jeffrey. Better play Kilmarnock. Gary Holt. Gives it away needlessly. A neat turn, but too much of the ball shown for Chris Innes. Kilmarnock, who started the Scottish League season with 1 win and 1 defeat, will have to raise their game for Sunday afternoon's trip to face St Johnstone. St Johnstone haven't started the season well themselves, but
will be watching this one keenly, you can bet. Having played in Europe themselves this evening and drawn 1 goal each away to the Finnish club Vasa. Holt again gives it away. Break is on, and this is Jonsson, and there's a really good chance here, and the post saves Kilmarnock. Still not away. Finally cleared to the relative sanctuary of the touchline where goal, and once more it would bring the ball out, but the closest we've come to a goal in 73.5 minutes of football. Substitute Pearson, who was just 2 inches away.
Well, he actually thought he had scored.
It's the substitute Birgisson, who was just 2 inches away.
Well, he moved right through that Kilmarnock defence and goalkeeper. It was a beautiful fleeting move right through that Kilmarnock defence, and really the goalkeeper couldn't even save him this time, but that was a real let-off, wasn't it?
Neat idea as far as the finish went from Birgisson, with the outside of the boot away from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think he thought he had done everything right. He looked so composed when he did it. Seemed full of confidence, and I think he thought he had scored in actual fact, but he just misdirected slightly onto the post, and a lifeline for Kilmarnock again.
Birgisson will hope to be not so wasteful next time. This is a dangerous moment for Colin Meldrum and the Kilmarnock defence. Well within striking distance. How many in that wall? 6 players back in the Kilmarnock wall. Looks as if it's going to be fired straight in by Benedictson. Still not clear, but the whistle has come to the Scottish side's aid. Once more offside, and those flags have been raised far too often in the game. Just under 15 minutes to go. KR Reykjavik 0, Kilmarnock 0. Billy, where's your money going? 0-0.
It tends to look that way after that one. I had that down as a goal because Birgisson stepped onto it so confidently. It was a lovely fleeting move, and you know, Kilmarnock really rode their luck there, and hopefully they continue to do that.
There's a push, a clear shove from Eggleston into the back of Jerome Vareille. Maybe the time is right for 10 minutes of vintage Ali McCoist. He scored some goals in Europe, of course. Well, I think Vareille's making a little too much of that. It certainly was a nudge, but not the shove that he made it look like from Eggleston. He's okay now. Is this too far out for the strike? Not quite sure what's going on here. Finally, it's a mess.
It certainly was misrehearsed, I would say. Somebody
learnt their lines and then forgot them. Better play this time. Gary Hay looking for a measured ball. Just needed to clear that first defender. Jeffrey was coming in. Again Hay. He's put some better crosses in the second half. From deep this time. Too deep for Jeffrey. Mitchell gives chase and wins the throw. The excitement levels are being upped slightly. Good attacking at both ends of the field. Easily away. I think I've just realised that I can understand Icelandic, because I quite clearly heard Christian Finnbogason, the goalkeeper, shout away when the ball came into the box.
Sounded like that, didn't it?
Late challenge, which the referee has spotted, and Ali Mitchell is fortunate to get away with not receiving a yellow card. The fans, the home fans, are making it clear what they think. Mitchell, who was booked against Aberdeen at the weekend, scored in the opening day 2-1 defeat at Rangers. his 8th season with Kilmarnock. He's put in some great performances over those years. This not one of his best. I'd say that for any number of players. But it is still 0-0. It's the most important fact as MacPherson wants the ball away and out of play. Bobby Williamson rather suspected that his opposite number, Ed Valton, was trying to waste a bit of time there as he kicked the ball away from the thrower. Now Mike Jeffries got in rather high and late. Again, that's good refereeing, though. He's had plenty of occasion to blow his whistle, but thankfully, apart from twice when he had no option, Herr Stark has kept the cards in the pocket.
Yeah, I think he's handled the game well. He's been very efficient. He's been up with play. Nothing you could say or have cause to complain.
29, as we said in the first half, the youngest referee in the German Bundesliga. One of the better ones on this display. Here's Gary Holt. He's misplaced a few balls lately. This time he finds Jeffrey through the middle, but it's asking an awful lot. What this does do, of course, if it finishes 0-0, is tee it up for the second leg in a couple of weeks as an all-or-nothing one-off cup tie, in which a score draw would suit the Icelandic side.
Yeah, it certainly would, but I think it would also suit Kilmarnock, because it really means that all they would have to do is win on their own ground, and I think they would fancy themselves to do that. Certainly, it would need a much better performance than we've seen tonight, but I put this down as a poor performance by Kilmarnock, and one that they would certainly improve upon.
Plus the fact that in 2 weeks' time there'll be another 2 or 3 Scottish Premier League games into their season as well.
It would certainly help, wouldn't it?
This is a good break from Danielson, and it's well cut out. Strong challenge from McGowne. Reily looking for Hay. Hayes just overplayed the pass. Kilmarnock will settle for a throw this deep in KR territory. Vareille will leave it for Hay. Vareille's looking for some room. He's not been given any at all by Henriksson. Bogerson opting to leave his penalty area to take this free kick. If KR will lose any sleep about being eliminated from the UEFA Cup at this stage. Their minds are set on the Icelandic Championship. Top of the league with 6 games to go. They haven't won the league for 30 years, 1968 the last occasion. And there's only really 10 teams in Iceland, so it does come as some surprise.
Well, they tend to have the reputation as being one of the bigger Icelandic sides. Yeah. It is a bit of a surprise that it's been 30 years.
I can tell you a result of particular note for Scottish football fans that's come in Wales this evening. Cumbraen Town 0, Celtic 6, the first qualifying round, first leg score there. 2 goals for Henrik Larsson, 1 each for Eyal Berkovic, Olivier Terbeli, Mark Viduka and Harold Bratback. I think we can safely say that one's done and dusted before the second leg.
I can't see Celtic losing 7 and not scoring a Celtic partner return leg. I'm convinced on that one.
Some would say you're just biased, Billy.
Perhaps I am.
KR looking to make Kilmarnock pay. It's cut out by Dindeleux.
That was good defending, wasn't it? Because he reacted much more quickly than...
The Frenchman for me has had a good game at the back.
Yeah, he has done well, but he reacted much more quickly than the KR forwards there, and it's just as well for Kilmarnock again.
Just to tell you some of the other scores from the UEFA Cup qualifying round matches going on tonight involving sides from Great Britain and Ireland. I've already said Cumbraen Town 0, Celtic 6. These all full times. Grasshoppers of Zurich 4, Bray Wanderers 0. 2 goals for Stefan Shakwizat, player of such European pedigree in that one. IFK Gothenburg 3, Cork City 0. Lokomotiv Tbilisi 1, Linfield 0. More in a moment as Gary Hay gives a cross straight onto the head of Eggleston. This is MacPherson. Dindeleux once more to Hay. 6.5 minutes for Kilmarnock to get an all-important away goal, maybe even win the match. A throw for KR though, more of those scorelines. NK Gorica 2, Inter Cardiff 0, Portadown 0, CSKA Sofia of Bulgaria 3, and Vasa of Finland 1, St Johnstone 1. All those are full-time scores. So no shocks particularly anywhere. Blocked, he's claiming a hand. That would have been rough justice through on Kilmarnock if handball had been given against them. That would have been rough justice.
There. What was the worrying aspect about it was the ease with it. Danielson went past a couple of defenders and got in a position to cut the ball back. The worrying aspect about it was the ease with it. Danielson went past a couple of defenders and got in a position to cut the ball back.
And he's done it a few times.
Well, that was
Danielson.
An ideal run, wasn't it? Good defending, to be fair, once again by Dindeleux. He got himself in a position to block the cross, but worrying was the ease with which Danielson got himself into a good position.
He's looked to be KR's most useful player over the 90 minutes as a whole, or over the 85 we've played. Arna Thor Danielson, player who spent last winter in the German second division with FC Zwickau. He tried to tee up Gunlaugson, who's appealing in hope rather than with any real conviction that he was going to get the decision.
I think that's what it was. Didn't seem to strike Dindeleux anywhere other than his stomach.
Most result of those British Isles scores we were giving you from the UEFA Cup ties tonight has to be Linfield, only going down by 1-0 in Georgia to Lokomotiv Tbilisi. They don't have a chance. And we see that Kilmarnock have made another change. Paul Wright has replaced Mike Jeffrey. Paul Wright, formerly of Hibs and QPR, to name but two. He's got a good goal-scoring record in Scotland. Mike Jeffrey, though, can't be faulted for the performance he's put in for Kilmarnock tonight. He's done okay.
Yeah, he's worked very hard without getting any great service, but you know, whenever Wright appears on the field, and particularly in the Kilmarnock jersey, you tend to look for a goal from him.
This time as Finn Bogerson collects the back header. Got some distance on that clearance. Innes will have to watch this, battling away with Birgersson, and battling too hard. Birgersson appealing for a card. He won't get that, he'll just get the free kick.
I hate to see that in an opposing player looking to get a player booked for really virtually nothing.
He's going away towards the corner flag, he's got the free kick.
There was nothing in the foul, he's got the foul, and that should be enough for him.
Is he a fan of Italian football, Birgersson? Free kick to be delivered once again by Benedictson. Look at the congestion once more. Somebody's going to win the ball in that lot. Who? I wouldn't like to wager. And it comes towards the centre of the area. Meldrum didn't get there. And it's put into the back of the net by Thor Hinriksson. KR 1, Kilmarnock 0 with just over 3 minutes remaining. The free kick was put right into the correct place. You can see here Benedictson lifts it across. And Hinriksson got ahead of MacPherson to beat Meldrum. The charge started from the edge of the penalty area. I said somebody was going to get there. I didn't realise Hinriksson was going to have all that space ahead of his marker.
Great delivery, wasn't it? And it really difficult one for the goalkeeper to deal with, and that's got to be a defender's got to come across here and compete. But we've seen Kilmarnock giving the KR forwards that space before, and this time they've paid the full penalty.
Celebratory mint for the manager. KR 1, Kilmarnock 0. Even the cameraman getting a little excited. camera off balance, and so are Killie. Free kick goes to Jerome Vareille. Paul Wright is making his way towards the edge of the penalty area with some urgency.
Well, that goal makes an away goal all that more important to Killie.
It's Chris Innes to take charge. Flicked in by Holt. Vareille and Wright went for the same ball. KR will break again. Ern Jonsson. Just over the whole game, you get the feeling the Icelandic team have played with 10% more urgency.
Well, I don't think you can deny KR the result, because they've been the most likely to score all through the game. Indeed, had it not been for Meldrum in that first half, and had it not been for that shot against the post in the second, then Killie would certainly have been considerably further behind.
And a suspect and tired-looking throw in there from Danielson, but the referee probably right to just let play go on. Now the Reykjavik supporters are making some noise. Cleared by Finn Bogason. And right on cue, just when I was talking about the fact that there'd been no real shocks in the UEFA Cup games this evening, KR may well a minor.
I take it that shot didn't go anywhere near the goal. I take it that shot didn't go anywhere near the goal.
Well, the cameraman didn't even bother to follow it. It went high, it went very wide. It cleared the running track, and it's somewhere down the street. Bobby Williamson was half smiling before, turned into a frown towards half-time. He looked so relaxed in the first 15 minutes. Now it's a scowl. Not the best present for his 38th birthday tomorrow.
It's certainly not, Guy. He's performed wonders at Kilmarnock. He really has. Very, very low budget and produced reasonable teams.
The one thing he'll really be hoping for this season is a good run in Europe and boosting the coffers some. In fact, he was only talking in the press this week about whether, having got past KR, it was almost taken as read that they would he fancy a big draw to earn some money? And he said, no, we want to run in the Cup.
Yeah, I think he's right. You know, it's nice to get past a couple of rounds with easy draws, but he's now going to have to work a bit to get his team through.
Through to the first round proper when many of the big guns from European football come in. Here's Holt, quickly closed down. KR have done that well all night. Mitchell, poor cross, easy for Finn Bogason, or it should have been. He just hung at the last minute. Almost let Paul Wright get in there. Finn Bogason's not happy with that clearance. Challenge from Gunlaugson. He's a worker.
He's looked as though he's got a fair bit of ability, and I think that is indicated by the fact that he's been out of the country to various teams, hasn't he?
And he's been brought down there for a pretty obvious free kick. And he really is a spitting image of his brother Arne.
Yeah.
And with that hairstyle, or lack of hairstyle, there literally are two peas in a pod.
You can tell him that.
I think he's quite the same player as Arne Gunlaugson. That's possibly why Arne Gunlaugson's playing in the Premiership, albeit in Leicester's reserves, and he's still in Iceland. Or back in Iceland. Kilmarnock looking for that away goal equaliser. Paul Wright will chase. MacPherson couldn't get the cross in first time. Guess MacPherson being forced back up the field all along. Now in for Ali Mitchell. Had to be delivered first time. Holt's header. Back in from Reily and away by Egil Olsen, who's been a rock at the back, the skipper. And his clearance has gone deep into Kilmarnock territory and has brought about the final whistle from the German referee. KR Reykjavik 1, Kilmarnock 0. Rangers started the week off well. Celtic continued the trend tonight with a 6-0 winning from Brann. Referee Kilmarnock haven't obliged though in Iceland. So Reykjavik victors. They take a 1-0 lead to Rugby Park in 2 weeks' time. And Billy, they just about deserve that.
Well, I think they did deserve the victory. Bobby Williamson will be disappointed. The victory, in fact, the defeat might have just been a little bit more had the goalkeeper not played so well that first half, had that chance not been missed by Ferguson. But it won't be easy, but Kilmarnock can play an awful lot better than they showed tonight.
Of course, it's a big year for Scotland in Europe, trying desperately to raise that qualifying coefficient that sees Scottish teams so far down the list, and the reason why Kilmarnock, Celtic, St Johnstone are even competing in this UEFA Cup qualifying round. Kilmarnock, I'm afraid, haven't played their part tonight. Celtic have. They've won 6-0 in Wales against Cwmbran. St Johnstone have drawn 1 goal apiece away to Vasa of Finland. Graham Major from England is our internet winner on www.eurosport.com. He correctly predicted that Reykjavik would win by a goal to 0 this evening. And this is how it came about. A left-wing free kick headed in at the near post by Thor Hinriksson, a former Iceland under thing out of a game of rugby league there. As look at that, 6s and 7s around the edge of the area. It's more akin to Meldrum, who for rugby league there. So a very good night evening. So a very good night for evening. So a very good night from Guy Mowbray and Billy McNeil. Hope you've enjoyed as much as you could the action from Iceland this evening. KR 1, Kilmarnock 0, the final score. On to Rugby Park in 2 weeks' time.